In this lesson, we're going to be talking about Salesforce Object Search Language, or SOSL for short. This allows you the ability to search all or a set of fields for a term. Unlike SOQL, where you need to know the field to search in, with SOSL you do not. As an example, you are building a custom search Lightning Web component, and you may not know what fields to search the keyword in, or the object will continue to change and those fields will need to be searched in as well. These are great examples to use SOSL. In SOSL, you don't have the ability to use all of the different keywords and things that we had gone through with SOQL. However, there still are quite a few that you can use. You can use the where clause, limits, offsets, order by, and you get other functionality that you don't get with SOQL, such as being able to search a group of objects in one query. So I'm going to first start with going over the syntax for SOSL. So if I remove this, alright. So instead of a select, we're going to have a find, and this is going to be a little bit different for whether or not we're using the query editor, which I will show, or whether or not we're using Apex, which I will also show that as well. But first we start with the find, and then we have within the query editor, we use brackets and then the term, and then in, and then we identify a search group. And what a search group is a group of fields which you're going to be searching on. You can't specify a random subset of fields. You can only use the search group fields, which are all fields, email fields, name fields, and phone fields. And those fields are pretty self-explanatory, where all fields is going to be any field within the objects that we search. Email fields are all the fields that are designated as email, same as name, and then same as phone as well. It's just the fields that when you select a field or create a custom field within Salesforce and you select phone, email, name is just going to be the name of the object field itself, the standard one. But then after we specify the search group, we specify the object and what fields we want to return within the object. So that starts with returning, and then it's going to be the object and fields. It could also be object 1 with the fields, object 2, and it could be a different set of fields for object 2, 3, 4, however many you do. And so let's go to Dev Console to show what it looks like. Okay, for this one, what I want to do is I want to find, we'll use the words Wayne or Apex in the name fields, and we're going to search the account and contact. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the find, and then the square brackets, and then in this case, instead of using single quotes, it is double quotes, and then we will do Wayne. But in this, instead of using Wayne, what we're going to do is we'll use a wildcard. So you do have the ability to use wildcards as well. You can use either question mark, which is just going to be a single character wildcard, or you can use the asterisk, which is going to be all or none or many. You can also use and or ors, and then Apex. So I'm going to look for Wayne or Apex in the name fields. Returning, we'll do account, and I want to return, if there is an account, I want to return the ID and the name, And then we also can use the where clause, limits, offsets, and order by. So I'm going to just use the order by, and then name. And then I also want to search contacts as well. So I'll do contact, and then get the first name, last name, and then we'll do the account name as well. So then if I run this, all right, we can see that the total rows is 22, but then we also see that we have two tabs here, one for account and one for contact. And we can see the return of the account, where we have the Apex tutorial accounts, and then we have the Wayne Manor accounts, and then we also have it ordered by. And then in the contacts, we have the first name, last name, and then we have the account, and really it says object, but the account name is there as well. So this is what it looks like when we're using the query editor to find a search term. And then now I'm going to go back to Visual Studio Code, and I'll show you what it looks like when we do this in Apex. So first thing is that the return for this is going to be a list of lists, and they're going to be S objects. So list of lists, so a list in a list, and then it's S object. And then we'll call it just search list. And then we still use square brackets. And then it's find. And then this time we don't use the curly braces. We just use single quotes. Wayne or Apex in name fields, returning account ID, name, order by name, contact, first name, and last name, account name. All right. Now what we can do is we can take a look at debug and see what we have. And let's run. Oh, I know what the issue is. It all needs to be in one string. There we go. Okay, now we can see that when we debug it, we have the two parentheses, which would mean list of lists. So I have the first list that ends right here, separated by the comma, and then the second list, so that was the accounts, and then the second list with the contacts. So now what we can do is knowing that, let's say that we wanted to pull out one of the contacts just to take a further look at it, and then later on we may circle back at this and have a better way of taking a look and viewing these objects and the data within it. But for right now, I can take the search list, and then if I use the first index, that's going to be a list of all the accounts. And then if I take the
second index, and let's just take the, so this is going to be contacts, and within contacts I want the fourth contact record, so I'll use the number 3. And let's just take a look and see what that looks like. Okay, when I debug that, the last one is the contact record, and I have first name, last name, account ID, and we'll say that I want the first name and the account name for that ID. So then I can, so this is an S object, and since it's an S object, I can't directly get the value of any of these fields. Instead, what I'll need to do is first change the S object to a contact record, and to do that I will have to use casting, and then I take the not account list. If I take this to get the contact S object, and I'll be going over casting later on. So I can get the first name, and then the account, account dot name. And I can see I have Alfred for the first name, and then Wayne Manor for the account name. And that is SOSL. So we went over the structure and how SOSL is used in the query editor and also in Apex. We went through how to grab the list or set of lists, and then even down to a record from SOSL and what you can do with it. You're not going to be using SOSL as much as you will be using SOQL. And SOQL is very frequent. SOSL is quite a bit less frequent from any of the projects that I've been working on.